Welcome into episode number 26 of The Right Stuff, a Blood Bowl podcast, brought to you by Empire Games, coming out of sometimes lovely, always trash-talking Anderson, South Carolina. I'm Yannie, here with Nathan, and we actually get to talk about our own games this week.
Yeah, I think 75% of the podcast will be us recapping our games.
Possibly. I mean, it's been so long since we got to do it. You got to get them in when you can.
Oh, for sure. We actually have, I think we have more than a week's worth of games to report on, but the league is still backed up like a little bit. It's kind of lurching forward, bumbling forward. We're like technically halfway through the league, but it doesn't feel that way because there's like some makeup games that need to be played still. But at least there was some decent progress towards that this time around.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting their games in at a solid pace, which we definitely appreciate. It gives us content to talk about.
Yeah.
But it was kind of disorienting a little bit hearing some people last night talking about, oh, I'm planning out the rest of my season because I only have 5 games left. And it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's really creeping up on people, I think.
Yeah. I've got 6 games remaining. My game against Warren will be this Saturday, which is like a few days away depending on when you listen to this. Mm-hmm. And after that, we still have to play somewhere in there.
Yeah.
We're on a collision course. And I mean, like, when I initially was writing notes for this a couple days ago, there were like 8 games played between when I was writing notes and this. And I was thinking about how like one division has like a clear front runner, and then that like completely changed by the time the dust settled on several games.
Right.
So there's a lot of Blood Bowl still left to be played. I think you can make some inferences, and that's kind of what our discussion topic today is talking about like a potential playoff picture as it develops from here. So.
Yeah, and of course, given the way that making predictions work, everything we say will be immediately proven wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll be
Blood Bowl has a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
You can't talk in absolutes. You can always talk in what happened, because there's so much variation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so we got catch-up games to catch up on. Starting with a Week 4 game, we had Renegades of Funk and Rat Patooey. That was a 2-1 win for those Chaos Renegades. And Sean's team is starting to get to that scary point that we did not see from our previous league with Chaos Renegades. Obviously, that was a fresh start league. You had to have a chance to build up those players. But starting out with the 3-block plan seems to be working out for Sean now.
Yeah, and the pro on the Rat Ogre is really scary. I watched in the game the Rat Ogre used pro literally every turn, and it did something for the Rat Ogre. So pro is like so good on those big guys, and I think he's at a spot where he can put pro on the other 2 big guys if he wanted. And I would tend to lean in that direction because I think the Renegade team falls down on its face in those turns where you have multiples of your big guys that you really need to not activate, and pro cuts those activations, those non-activations. Pro cancels those out quite a bit. And you have the upside of like pro being partially tackle because it gets you a reroll on a block. There's things that pro does for players. If you're trying to throw teammate, you could pro the throw teammate roll, right? There's a lot that pro gives those big guys, and he's certainly knocking on the door of the team being really ruthless. Now, this was Christian's first game in the league, so welcome aboard, Christian. He was kind of puppeted by me and Juan during that game because he is like fresh. But talking to him, he's certainly interested in getting better. I recommended him some like the art of blocking and stuff like that to read, and so it looks like he wants to study up on the game and get better at it. And it was one of those where we coached him through a couple of turns, and he's playing Skaven into a team that had like 3 mighty blows, so we didn't want him to just get tabled. There was a really funny instance in the game where I was explaining, like, yes, you can stand those line rats up. Me personally, I would dodge away from the ogre and the troll here because I wouldn't want my guys getting hit by them again. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know what, I'm going to stand them up and I'm just going to let them sit there. And then both of the blocks from those two big guys just casually both of those rats. And I was like, okay, this was a lesson. Like, this is Blood Bowl teaching you a lesson here. Just take it to heart. That's not going to happen every time, but still, it's one of those where you had and one of those was definitely the Mighty Blow, because it was a 7 on the armor break that got put to an 8 and then turned into a casualty. And so it's one of those where I was like, if you had dodged away and you fell over and he rolls a 7, you're totally fine. Your guy's just on the ground, unhurt. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I mean, that's like a 2-1, like scoring in your first game. I would take that as solid.
I would too, yeah, so. for sure. Yeah, I think he's got a lot to learn, obviously, and Blood Bowl's kind of a marathon as far as like knowledge goes, mm-hmm. Right? And he's starting today against people who've been running this marathon for 20-something years. So, I think he's showing a lot of promise, and I hope he's got some fun that he can extract from these games.
Right.
Because some of them I think a good chunk of the games are probably going to go this way, where he probably doesn't have the experience. And he was rolling terrible on armor breaks. The Rat Ogre could not break armor for him.
Ooh.
And it was something like, I watched the Rat Ogre knock somebody down like 6 turns in a row with 0 armor breaks against armor 9. Right. And that's just bad. That's just bad luck on your part. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, week 5 game. This is one of my catch-up games. I played against the Soul Peak Dooms last night as of this recording. This was a little bit out of sequence from the other games that I played. I have played my week 7 game before this, which gave me some slight edits to the team that I ended up making. Just based on the amounts that I was getting as far as inducements, I decided I was just going to take 2 skills and then get a keg on top of that. So going into the game, I had leader to give me a 3rd reroll and dirty player on a line woman, which was very important for this game. I was going in with 11 players. I actually had bought 2 line women to have 11 just fully rostered, no journeyman. And Jack's team he has like a full roster, so he has 16.
Yeah, I saw that. That was one of those things. I like to look at his roster and I was like, he has this bad boy slaps topper of roof can fit so many zombies in here.
Yes. The game was the night the skeletons came to life, basically.
I always liked skeletons slightly more than zombies when I was playing Shambling. I think that puts me in the minority, but I really value the extra point of speed.
Right. Yeah. I could definitely see that. I've only played one Shambling game. I played with zombies. I want to try one with skeletons and see it. But yeah, going into the game, I was 11 versus 15. So my primary goal in that game was I want to keep drives going as long as possible, as long as my people are not dying. Because I think like a way to really get in trouble in that game is, like we have like a quick drive. We each like peel one of the other's players, and then I'm setting up with 10. He's still setting up with 11.
You're right.
And then even if I peel like 2 more and he gets another one, it's like 11-9.
Yeah, or another doomsday scenario is like a weather change into like sweltering heat, mm-hmm. right? And then you're having to field like 7-8 people into 11 the whole game, right? Just because he's got such a deep bench.
Mm-hmm.
And you also don't want a scenario where he's like incentivized to start fouling you, right? Yes. Where you start trading your bench spots for your quality players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jack won the die roll, elected to receive. And my plan at that point was like, I'm going to be very defensive. I'm not making any inroads into his side of the field. I was like, I'm just going to sit back. I'll take a blitz, a turn, or whatever it is. And I'm just going to sit back from the line. He'll get like 1 hit on me. And then whenever he crosses over midfield, then I'm going to make the decision of like if we're rumbling, if I'm trying to get the ball, or if I'm just going to let them score and try to like equalize before the half. So I end up actually getting super lucky. I knock out a ghoul on the first turn because I'm able to get around the corner and sort of frenzy it into the middle of a bunch of players with my one frenzy line woman. Falls down, run over with the dirty player, and kick it in the face. A couple turns in, Jack runs down the side. He like runs down the sideline when he does cross over the field, and he makes sort of a half cage with the second blodge ghoul. The ball was on one of his other blodge ghoul, and then had a zombie, and then the white that does not have frenzy came over on that side as well. So I end up deciding like, okay, I can fight for the ball here. I go in, set up a blitz on one of the ghouls to try to set up for a frenzy push the next turn. Am able to push the ghoul out, and then the ball flies back into his backfield, and I just have more open players at that point. I'm able to run over, grab the ball, and then just run out the half and score on turn 8. Going into the second half, I'm receiving, and then my plan is like I'm just going to sit here and just kind of hold the ball in the backfield and not turn it over. This is basically my goal. It's like I just want to run it out. I have 11 players. He has 11 players. I'm just going to, if I can get a numbers advantage, I'm just incentivized to just like not score or turn anything over. So when he sets up on the line, he sets a zombie on the line 2 squares away from the sideline. And I'm like, okay, well, there is my first removal. So I set up to block it out with the frenzy line woman. I'm able to do that on the first turn, so I'm up a player. He ends up surfing that player on a 5+ dodge and a 1 die block with a ghoul. And then the second turn, I get a casualty with a line woman and then foul someone else out. So over the course of like the first 6 turns, I like averaged a player per turn in the second half of just like removing people. I was able to get the ball on the Jaguar early, and that was basically, I think that was kind of what sealed it, because the mummies were too far apart to do anything. One of the whites had injured itself in the Blues at the end of the first half on a push and fell over and did not regenerate, so it was just out for the game. And I think that like the lack of a block piece to really hit with, just really caused a bunch of problems. Like his dice were not like particularly good just because of the fact that he had 4 instances of block on the team. You don't really want to blitz with a ghoul when I have so much tackle and mighty blow around. Like there's just so many ways that could go poorly for you.
Yeah.
And then the mummies not having block meant there were lots of pushes.
Right.
So
you got to get 3 dice to have like a halfway decent shot at it, and if you don't have block, then blitzing with somebody without block gets a little scary, and you end up eating into your rerolls. Mm-hmm. I think that's like a traditional Amazon shambling style. I always, when playing Amazons in tournament play into shambling, I always feel pretty good because they just don't have enough tackle. Mm. And I'm not scared of zombies. The ghouls, they're decent players, but like you get to negate mummies quite a bit. And a lot of other teams don't have that option. You can kind of dance around the mummies, even if they've got guard or whatever. Mm-hmm. You've got defensive. There are lots of times where your opponent just really can't get the dice to line up the way they need it to. So they have to roll out of their mind, or if they're rolling average, you're coming out way ahead in the block math. So
yeah, that was like how I was looking at the game kind of in hindsight, was that it was, when I was reviewing in my head, I'm like, it was just like a mismatch as far as like the skill loadouts on the players.
I mean, you probably have like 100 SPP on them, right? Because you carried your team over too.
Probably.
So yeah, I mean, I can see that game going really wrong for the shambling side.
Yeah, I think it's like when you're like when you don't have any tackle on the team, and you're going to, or even like wrestle.
Right.
Like wrestle would have been helpful, but like not having any of that into a team, like I think if you're rolling average, you're still at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, it was a 2-0 win.
Every time I like advocate for 2 tackle on a tournament list, my opponents are like, "Oh, you're sure you need 2 tackle?" And I'm like, "Man, the matchups you need tackle, you need it.
Yeah,
like you need it. Okay, the Amazon player knocks your tackle piece over and fouls it with drool, right? Like, what are you gonna do then? Continue playing with 0 tackle. So,
yeah. Yeah, but overall, like a wild game. Like, I was glad to get that game in, like get some more league games. So
yeah,
it was good. Week 6 games, we had Darn Tootin and the Barbarians. Darn Tootin got a 2-0 win.
I took care of business there, I'd say. Right, I apparently got a bunch of his own goblins hurt in that game.
Yeah, it looked like it from the tour play.
Yeah, failed dodges. So I think the game was 1-0, and Ide was going for a 1-turn score using Conan, and the throw is good. Like, he gets the handoff. The throw teammate is good to get him into the backfield. He lands in a not great spot, but he lands. He has to make like 3 go for it's and like 2 pushes or something. 3 dodges and 2 go for it's to score or something, like based off of like where it ended up. And apparently the 3rd dodge failed and he injured himself. At that point, you're out like 150k goblin or whatever that Conan costs. And then I think from there, Jurgen just disassembles you. So
yeah, you don't have that threat looming. Like, you're gonna be in a rough spot. Continue the streak of domination from this dwarf team.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Next,
it won't continue for the rest of the podcast though. There's a little bit of teasing upcoming results. So
fair enough. Yeah. All right. Up next, we have Slaughterhouse 11 and the Wretched Foul Fangs.
Yeah.
That's your game.
Yeah. All right. So the first note that I wrote, this game reminded me that not every opponent is going to high roll when they play against me. Joel, I think, failed his first 3 dodges of this game.
Okay.
And so it was one of those things where I would go to base his guys and have like a ridiculous strength advantage in this matchup, right? Because of the Bloodseekers, and I'm like fighting into goblins. Mm-hmm. So he just really, outside of the Rat Ogre, he really doesn't have good blocks that he can throw in this matchup. Otherwise, it's like 2 and 3 assists to get to the point where he can actually hit one of my guys back. And so that usually involves him having to make like a dodge, right? This game, it felt so different playing against Underworld without swarming, because I think this is the first time I've played against them since they lost swarming, versus when they had swarming. Because like when they had swarming, there was always extra bodies to go around. And this time around, you take a couple people off the pitch and suddenly like that team is scrambling for their lives. Well, so since he failed so many dodges early in turns, I just got like a bunch of hits on him. And my armor breaks were pretty soft in the first half, but I had like this wicked double surf where I moved one of my guys around and that cut off an avenue so that I could like push his blitzer into his Rat Ogre into Bomber that was on the sideline and surf him, and then Frenzy follow up, push the blitzer into the Rat Ogre and surf it at the same time. And so I was able to just stall out the whole first half because after the blitzer was on the sideline, I had like a blitz into him and surf him. So in like 2 successive activations, Bomber, the Rat Ogre, and the blitzer were all gone, and at that point nothing on the table threatens me. And so I just had my players just chasing his around the board, beating some stuff up. And he still had 11 to play defense with. None of my crowd surfs actually resulted in removal. So they all went to the reserves. And so he sets up on offense. And we're going to paint this picture and as I paint the picture, you'll understand what occurred in the game. So I'm kicking to him in the second half. He sets Bomber up in kind of like a forward position, and I did like my typical anti-bomb defense where I just put everybody 2 spaces away from everybody else. And so he gets the ball and he runs over to one side of the pitch, and he like starts building like a screen around his guys, and I just full court press after he like draws his positions. Just a full court press. I blitz somebody out of the way of Bomber, and then I go base Bomber with 2 people, and I just send the house after him. I base virtually everything I can, and then have like a couple of people waiting in the wings. And on the following turn, he like uses his Rat Ogre to knock one of the guys off of Bomber, and so with Frenzy, the Rat Ogre follows up next to Bomber, and he blitzes his blitzer around and knocks the other guy off of Bomber, so Bomber can now throw a bomb towards like a cluster of my people to try to get them out of the way. And he'd moved the Snotling up so that the Rat Ogre could punch the Snotling if it wild animal. So sitting next to Bomber is his Blitzer, his Rat Ogre, and a Snotling. And Bomber rolls a 1 and fails the loner check on the bomb, detonates himself, knocks over the Blitzer, knocks over the Rat Ogre. The Snotling is the only one standing because that's, of course it is. And that just like opens the door for me to just slap his whole team out of the way and send the Crazy Teeth after his ball carrier, who knocks the ball loose. And at that point, he's playing from behind the whole time. So it was one of those games where he just like rolled terribly at awful times, and that translated into me just kind of running away with the game. His Rat Ogre did not break armor with claws. And now it was barely in play in the first half because I like took pains to surf it. I couldn't take his Rat Ogre out of the game, even though I knocked it down several times in the second half, but it would just like stand up, blitz one of my guys, then fail to break armor. And so then I would knock it over, and then you just rinse and repeat that a bunch while the ball is just safe some other corner of the pitch. So I kind of ran away with that game. It was like the worst my opponent has rolled all season. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Joel. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our catch-up games this week. Now we go to actual Week 7 games. Some of the ones we were expecting. We got Loki Rat Bastards and the Metropolitan Dumpster Rats. Was a draw, 2-2.
Barbie was actually very close to going up 2-0 in this game. She got the first touchdown, and she rolled a blitz on Austin's ensuing kickoff. Now, both Austin and Barbie did not know that the ball isn't on the ground during the blitz. So I had to repair the game state there because she had tried to pick it up with the gut runner and then run the other way with it, which would be sick if you could do that, but there's a reason you can't.
Yeah.
But she was like on the goal. I think she failed like a go for it or something on the following turn to score. And so the ball was on like Austin's goal line for like the back half of the first half. And Austin managed to do like a handoff to this thrower who passed it to a blitzer and did like 2 go-for-its to score or something to tie it up at the half. And then he was in like such a good position, he was like caged up on Barbie's goal line. Barbie managed to push him into the end zone. And they were like, what happens here? And I was like, well, Austin loses his turn because they didn't know how that worked. And so Barbie pushed his guy into the end zone, forced the touchdown. Austin lost a turn, and then she was able to score to tie the game up. Kind of like a very interesting game there. I think they both learned a lot of like some of those more niche rules, the ones that don't come up every single game.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I would consider that like a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next, we got the Renegades of Funk and Realm Gate Marauders. The 2-1 win for Sean.
It's 3-1, right?
3-1?
Am I insane?
It might be, but I mean, you can still be right here. I don't know if that'll actually have an impact on.
Yeah, it's 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, you're cheating him out of a touchdown.
No.
Now, so Fred took a lot of injuries on tour play, and I have to wonder if Fred was getting his guy surfed accidentally, or if he was just like making dodges or something.
Yeah, from what I heard of Fred, he said his dice were not cooperating.
Yeah, I could see that, right? Like, I mean, if you're in one of those scenarios where the correct play is dodge away from the big guy, and you fail your dodge and your guy gets removed from the game, then yeah, that probably feels really bad, right? Making the right call and then still getting punished, like excessively punished for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think obviously we'll talk more about another one of Fred's games later, but I think after this one he was kind of like, feeling like he's just kind of ride out the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then was longing for Skaven again. So,
all these Skaven players, man, they take a season off of Skaven and they go crawling right back.
Yeah.
Crawling right back into the rat hole.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got crawling off of the pitch into hospital beds. Taisho Karahan, Little Titans of Mayhem. It's a 2-5.
This was a
drubbing.
This was a series of games for Chris.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. If you thought the Snotling matchup went sideways, just wait.
Yes. Yeah. 5-2.
Yeah.
Is 5 touchdowns for a Snotling team.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Something went real wrong here. And I'm pretty sure Juan scored 5 touchdowns to make me a liar. Because I was talking to somebody and I said, like, if you can score 2 touchdowns versus Snotlings, at the very best they'll do is they'll draw you.
Yeah.
Right. So this was clearly Juan's answer to that. Me talking trash on the Snotling offensive machine.
Yeah, I think what I will say is that of the teams, I think that conversation was more in specific context to Chase's team.
Yeah.
And just the way Chase plays, which I think there's a chance that could be true with Chase's team. But Juan's team is constructed in a way where he can score a little bit better.
He's got the stilties.
He's got the stilty runners with like movement up.
Yeah.
So he actually can score from pretty far away.
Right.
Because those things just have sprint naturally, right? So
Yeah.
it's like they can, with a movement up, they can move 10 squares. That's like almost midfield. So.
Right. That'll cover a lot of distance.
Yeah. But yeah, just a bodying of a game.
Yeah, it's got to be brutal for Chris for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he didn't take like a ton of casualties. He only took 3 injuries in that game. But still, yeah. I mean, 5 touchdowns is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next, we got, if you're a fan of defensive games, this will probably be more your speed. Those Who Wander and Darn Tootin'. It was a draw, 1-1. So the
Jurgen streak has come to an end.
Yes, both holding people scoreless and wins.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he gave up. He finally gave up a touchdown. I guess he's washed.
Yeah.
I guess
it's all over at this point.
It's over. It's the Jurgen self-deprecating grim fatalism can take over.
Yeah, I don't think we even need to talk about it for the playoff picture at this point. Just write it off.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that Jurgen broke armor against Will.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what Will was saying, I think he had a shot to like go up the end. Like there were a lot of rolls that had to happen, but he still had a chance to like possibly pull out the win, which would have been an even bigger upset. But
yeah.
Just from like the game, he was also saying it was just very boring.
Right.
So not very.
Yeah, I mean, armor 10 dudes hitting each other.
Yeah.
Like armor 10 dudes with block hitting each other. Yeah. Right. So half the time you don't even go down, and then half the time you do hit the ground. I mean, it's more than half the time, right? It was like 75% of the time you hit the ground, you're still fine. You're still in one piece. So,
All right, last game for leg day division for week 7 was, I would say this is an upset. Tryhards over the Gondolin Gloryhounds 2-0.
Yeah, I think the note that I put here is that it looked like Ness was indeed tryharding.
Yeah. I walked out and saw a snippet of this game, and when I walked out, it looked like it was in the second half. Like there was like a little of a tour play mix up somewhere in there because it looks like they had ended the first half with no one scoring, which seems fairly like something you would normally expect from a gym game, like holding off someone on defense. But then the touchdown got added. Like, okay, so Ness scored near the end. And then
we clearly need to have an episode on how to use tour play.
Yes,
and an episode on how to charge cell phones.
Also true. So, and then when I walked out, it looked like Jim had the ball and he was kind of separated. He could set up a mild screen, but not enough to really secure the ball, especially against the team that Ness has built. So it looks like a lot of people were just like scrummed up on one side of the pitch, and then on the other, there was like a high elf with the ball and like two other high elves that could kind of help, but not enough to protect the ball. So it looks like the ball got popped out somewhere and run in.
Right, and it goes the other way. I do like the tiny bit of revenge that Jim got by giving a movement down to the 4-strength witch elf, who had a movement up.
Yeah.
Thus, I mean, it would be like, imagine an injury that just removed a random skill from your player. Like, imagine how much that would suck.
Yeah, it would be pretty rough.
So now you're paying like a 20K penalty to keep this player in the team, but you can't cut it. It's 4-strength witch elf, right? Like, it's... I said it wasn't quite the same thing as killing a 30 SPP werewolf, but it probably felt good in the moment, at least.
Right, yeah. That's something you're fine with. Let's see. Up next, total body division. As we got a couple games, we're getting more in the rhythm of things, catching up. So first one up is Arbor Vitae and Slaughterhouse 11.
Oh yeah. So the first note that I wrote for this one was the hackneyed saying for a game like this is a tale of two halves. So I won the option to kick or receive. So I elected to kick the wing because we talked extensively about some of our games, and he said the games where my opponents kick to me, I'm forced to score, and then they just have the ball for the whole rest of the game always don't work out well for me, type of thing. So I was like, all right, sounds fine. I'll use that game plan. And then I had to throw that game plan away because on turn 2, the Crazy Teeth blitzed somebody, rolled double skulls, passed pro, rolled another skull, and then KO'd himself. So I literally didn't have my star blitzer for the first half of the game. I got one shot with him, and then he KO'd himself. And then shortly after that, Wayne fouled out my Sure Hands Beastman, and I was thinking to myself, this game's a loss. Because I need the Sure Hands. I need block dodge Sure Hands on my ball carrier to keep the damn War Dancers like in check. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he fouled it out of the game. I used my apothecary, got the same stupid result. And so my my star ball carrier is gone. I'm missing like 450K worth of players right now, right? Like I'm missing legitimately a third of my team. And so I have to play... I can't force him to score. I managed to force him to score on turn 7, which gave me 2 turns to try. And like the only way I could get a touchdown was like a 6-up pass into the end zone. I failed that. So I was not optimistic about the second half. And I got the Crazy Teeth back on the second KO roll. And so I think I get like a KO or something on like the first turn. I forget exactly where my KOs are in this game, but Wayne was setting up with defense with 11, I believe. I did casualty a player in the first half. And I think he had 12 for the game. So I think I get like a KO on my line hits. I ended up with like 2 Bloodseekers tied up with a tree, which was not like my goal. I only ever wanted 1. I do have to shout out the Prayer to Nuffle Roll Iron Man. On the initial kickoff of the game, I win Iron Man, and I have my skillless Bloodseeker. He's lined up his tree with that Bloodseeker, so I put Iron Man on that Bloodseeker, right? Because I send that guy to 11 armor because it's against the only Mighty Blow player on his team. Mm-hmm. And so turn 1, he takes root on the tree and knocks that guy down, but doesn't break armor. I think he rolls a 9. And so the Mighty Blow sends it to 10, but that's not enough to get to the Iron Man total.
Right.
And so in the second half, the Tree Man spikes a 12 on that Bloodseeker and breaks his armor. And then, like, in 2 turns, he stands up, and the Tree Man knocks him down again and rolls a 9. And then the next turn, the Tree Man knocks him down again and rolls another 9. So Iron Man stopped 3 different armor breaks on the Bloodseeker, I think, during the course of that game. So anyway, that was like a funny anecdote from the game. I don't think it really mattered for the game that much, but it was a really funny thing that happened. So Wayne kicks it like deep into my backfield. I have to go send like a skillless, I think I use like a block Beastman as like my ball returner. Mm-hmm. So I have to send a Beastman back there. It like almost lands in my end zone. So I have to like spend 5 movement to go back there, pick it up. I think maybe it did land in my end zone, something like that. And so my Beastman is like 1 square away from my end zone. I have like 1 Marauder back there. A Fish's Ref stunned somebody else that I could have put in the vicinity of it. And so I have like 2 people in my backfield, and then Wayne sends like 3 Wood Elves just back there, including both War Dancers and like a Wrestle Dodge guy. And so I don't really like that board position at all. And so I do get like my Tackle Corngore and one of my other, like my Guard Bloodseeker back there, and I base those elves. I move the Beastman up, and it hands it off to the Marauder I had in the backfield. And I managed to tuck that Marauder around, nestled in between like the Bloodspawn and Guard and some other stuff, and a couple other people. And so Wayne goes for the ball. And burns a couple of rerolls. He had 4 rostered rerolls. He bought a reroll prior to the game, and he had leader, so he had 5 rerolls. And I was making him use at least a reroll a turn, sometimes multiple. And just because of the way, in the second half for sure, because I had 2 instances tackle as opposed to just 1. And so he bases the Crazy Teeth with the Wrestle Dodge guy. Blitzes the ball carrier 1 die, pops the ball loose. It bounces around for a bit, but lands in 3 of my tackle zones, and so he's not able to recover it. And so I get to throw like a turn of blocks against him. And this results in 2 casualties for me, taking out the Wrestle Dodge dude with the Crazy Teeth, taking out somebody else with a Bloodseeker. I may even get like a KO in there or something like that. I think I had like several armor breaks that turn. And I'm able to recover the ball, get it further downfield. He like burns some rerolls to get elves into position, knocks the ball loose with strip ball, but the Marauder is still standing. The ball lands in the hands of like his sneaky get player. And so on the following turn, I'm able to set up a block. I knock down the sneaky get guy. I think I KO him. The ball pops loose. I recover it again. And at this point, his team is just like shattered. Now, I couldn't ever get the thrower off the pitch. And the stupid War Dancer, the strip ball War Dancer, had Will was watching part of the game. Will said that War Dancer had plot armor. Because there was like a 3 or 4 turn span where that War Dancer hit the ground And some of those were like failed dodges, some of those were failed leaps, some of those were like the blood spawn putting them on the ground, and I never broke armor against it. But I was able to stall out the rest of the half and then end the game in a draw. If I had taken out the thrower, I would have tried to go for the win. But I don't like my chances of stopping Wood Elves from scoring in 2 turns if the thrower is alive. So there you go. That's that recap there. The second half, every time I interacted with the ball, I made like a dodge with like a Bloodseeker to get away from the tree. Like it was one of those where if I needed a roll, it just happened. Whereas in the first half of the game, like my second block with the Bloodspawn is triple skulls and he's KO'd, right? So yeah, I don't know. Blood Bowl, high variance game, it turns out.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of high variance games, next up we got my game against Chase. So this was a game that I was going into where I was going to be happy with any outcome that did not involve any of my good players permanently dying.
Yeah. Or so getting like agility downs or strength downs, stuff like that.
So I talked about it last week where I had originally had games scheduled, was planning on overdogging Red Hukuli to try to mitigate some of the fouling. Those games didn't happen, so I just went in with my team as it was. And it was a game. The game went pretty much just how I needed it to.
Yeah.
So kickoff.
I don't think I've ever played against a Snotling team where that's happened to me, at least.
Right.
Like even in playtesting, the Snotling team just rolls me off the table.
Yeah. So I win the kickoff, elect to receive because I'm like I am going to get away from everybody on the line as quickly as possible. And the kickoff event is a timeout. So I'm like, perfect. This is
great. One less turn of fouling.
One less turn of death and destruction I have to worry about. So the first couple of turns go fine. I'm able to take a blitz on the first turn, just like casually snotling. So I'm like, okay, this is like a start. If I just do this, every turn, I'll eventually kill enough snotlings to be fine. The biggest moral victory for me was I threw the first foul of the game. So that was a win in my book. I have to score on like turn 5 because he had the fungus flinga, and it was like I had like retreated backwards a good bit at the start of the drive, just trying to like make it so that he was gonna have to kind of follow me in, and then I had like the 8-speed blitzer that could run around and get away. My main thing was trying to bait Morg or Varag to go far enough in to where I could run past it and not have to worry about him being able to catch up.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that eventually. And I think one of the big turning points of the game was after scoring that touchdown, he went to argue the call for the fungus flinga, rolled a 3. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to use a bribe, which he had bought 2 in the game. It's like, I'm going to use a bribe, rolled a 1. He's like, I'm going to use a second bribe, rolled another 1. So at that point, I'm like, okay, well, bribes are gone.
That's Flinga's gone.
Flinga's gone. I'm like, okay, this is
the Flinga. Right. Like honestly, the Flinga's the problem. Like the bombers are the problem for Amazons.
Yeah.
Because the skills on Snotlings aren't a problem for you, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have tackle, but the problem is the bombers get free armor breaks against you and your armor 8. Yeah. Right. And your skills don't do anything.
Yeah. The bomb is like pseudo tackle because it's like a 4+ to knock.
It's an extra blitz.
Yeah.
And it sets up a foul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. I had to score on turn 5. It was a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but I just couldn't afford to like stall out because a bunch of stuff was threatening to get put on the ground and fouled. So I scored on 5, and then he proceeds to kill 2 players in back-to-back turns with fouls with Hefe. Hefe eventually gets caught and sent off. I'm able to prevent him from scoring at the end of the first half, and in the second half, I'm setting up with. I forget. Very few players.
Like 6 or something,
yeah,
right?
it was probably like 6. The game ends. I have 4 players on the pitch. Before the 5th player disappears, I he had run the ball down, and my plan at this point, I was like, I'm up 1-0. I don't really care if he ties it or whatever. Like, I'm probably not going to be able to score with 5 players just logistically. So I'm like, my plan was to run a piranha in to blitz the snotling that was carrying the ball, hoping the ball just kind of like ping pongs around, bounces to a square within 1 tackle zone. And I'm like, I still have my rerolls. I'm going to dodge out with my thrower, pick it up, like, I have sure hands, so I'm like, whatever. Like, I'll just, like, hopefully get a coin flip in my favor and with a reroll, and then dodge out and just punt the ball down the field to where he can't get it in time. And maybe there's a chance I have a player loose that can run for it. Instead, what happens is I hit the snotling, I get to block it down, and then the ball bounces to the piranha, who catches it on a 4, and then hit and runs out, and then gets to like dodge up the side, like gets to run up the sideline. Varag or Morg could not catch her at that point, so I'm able to just kind of retreat and then score on turn 16 to get a 2-0 win. So
yep.
I would say sorry for the excellent rolls, but I don't apologize to stunty players.
Yeah, I don't apologize to snotling players either.
Yeah, I mean, I think the funniest part was Chase mentioning at one point, he said my average die roll was about a 5.5 as I rolled and revealed another 5.
Yeah, he was like, well, that's bringing the average down.
Yeah. I think that's just the thing of stunty players. I think you're very, like, stunty players in general, you roll so many dice. You're very conscious of dice rolls.
Yeah. It's the same thing with vampires.
Yeah.
You roll so many dice with vampires that, there's going to be a string of 1 somewhere in that game.
Yeah. Also, power of blodgers against
Morg.
against Morg and Varag. Like, you can't really induce tacklers with that snotling team. So
right. Yeah, you can't. You don't. So there are like interesting plays you can make with other teams where you can like hire a mercenary and then give them the tackle skill. Right, and that might be the correct call against Amazons sometimes, but if you don't have any player who can take general skills, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Right, so and there's no, really there's no good tackle stars in Badland Brawl, right? And their tackler is Bama.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. All right. 2 more games in week 7. We've got Second Act and the Necromantic State Hellhounds, a 3-2 win for Jennings.
The note here was there's nothing so dangerous as a man with nothing to lose. Jennings was telling me that Halen was just making some insane plays, but he was just rolling the heat to back it up. He apparently had multiple 6+ passes from blitzers to other players. And so Halen was up 2-1 in this game. Now, he had lost so many players that Jennings was able to like score and then take the ball and score again to win it 3-2. But like, he was knocking on the door of a loss here. Jennings was. So,
yeah, crazy times. And finally, we got Clobbering Catastrophe, 1-0 win over the Wolfpack. I feel like this has been like a fairly common score for games against Warren. It's like
you're just stuck in a scrum.
Yeah, you're able to like eke out 1 score, and then you're able to do like just enough to keep him from scoring.
Yeah, and this game was played in the sweltering heat, so I think Warren took some losses in the first half. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what happened. There was a picture in the Discord at one point where there was like barely any players on the pitch.
I think it was. They had 1 full team between them. I think it was like 6v5.
Yeah. So normally tour play, there's like KOs that aren't accounted for, and so it looked like what happens if, 2 not particularly agility teams are slugging it out, 10 armor, bad agility, slugging it out midfield, sweltering heat. I don't expect more than like a 1-0 with these conditions in play.
Right.
So.
All right, we did have a trio of week 8 games that have already happened. First one is probably the best one to talk about. Taisha Kiran and Tidal Terrors is a 1-1 draw, and I am honestly shocked at that result.
The question to ask here is, can a draw feel like a loss? The answer is yes. Right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're like, I should easily win the game from this position. And then another thing that another question I wanted to ask was, can you take 9 injuries in a game and still feel like you won? Because I feel like Chris probably walks away from this with a draw thinking like, he's Boris the Bullet Dodger from Snatch. It's like, you missed. It's completely full of holes, full of bullet holes, and it's like, no, you didn't get me.
That's.
I got a recap from Clay to read through. So he couldn't score in the first half due to frog shenanigans with diving tackle and like jumping around on the pitch. But he did injure 9 players, plus he had some knockouts, and his dice were rolling hot on murder. Working theory is that they got a buff for Shark Week. He forced an early score in the second and scored back in the second half for a draw, but doesn't feel like a draw. And he wanted to point out that both Clay and Chris's Croxagores match with agility down.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, when you get it's the mental image of Dribble running up and just like kicking a Croxagore in the head until it just like loses balance. Like something, you're just like giving him like some sort of like permanent injury. It's very funny. But yeah, I definitely would say, like, if I was in Clay's position here, like sometimes the slan, I mean, that was like one of the things with slan, right? It's like
sometimes the team explodes.
Yeah, if you have the extra skills on your players, all those skills you start with just get unlocked.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough, and they can just randomly do things like similar to Wood Elves, right? Wood Elves being able to jump in, War Dancers doing crazy things. You got a team full of people that can jump all over the place.
So Slan, I still firmly believe that Slan is like one of the craziest teams at like the 200 SPP plus level, right? The getting to that level, I think, is the hard part, because you start, a lot of players start with like an awesome 3rd or 4th skill, but they start with it, and so you're missing the generic skills that make you like extremely deadly. And without those skills, there's going to be games where your opponents are just beating you relentlessly because you don't have the wrestles, the block, the dodge starting that keep your players alive. And so something like, and it really feels like Clay unlocked the potential of dribble and drool in this game, right? Because this is yet another player who hasn't discovered how great they are until they play it, and then just start getting +2 fouls on people a turn, and then they're like, I don't have a team. Like, my opponent doesn't have a team left. Yeah. So.
Yep. Next game up, we had Realm Gate Marauders and the Gondolin Glory Hounds. It's a 2-1 win for Jim. Kind of a bounce back game after the Ness upset.
Yeah, and this game looked to be bloody. Players getting peeled left and right.
Yeah, that was Fred made the decision to go with the Giant and was just doing Giant things.
Well, the Giant's not bad if your opponent's got Wrestle, because it's got Juggernaut. But it doesn't have Block. The thing is like Juggernaut block is really sick against a wrestler, because then you just like blitz them and put them on the ground. Whereas like the Giant, you're usually going to get to 3 dice with it, and if you knock people on the ground, the Mighty Blow +2 will stack up pretty quickly. And I actually like the Giant's footprint against elf teams quite a bit. You do need to like babysit the Giant, because you don't want them putting people in the back tackle zones. You probably need to like give the Giant like a bodyguard just to make sure that it doesn't get trapped somewhere. But if you're 3 dicing an elf a turn, it'll stack up pretty quickly.
Yeah. It seemed like I think this is good. I think Fred got a 1 turn in this game, I believe.
It looked like he scored with a halfling, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a thing that it seems like people are starting to unlock in the league more. It's like one turn potential.
Yeah, right. You gotta save your rerolls for it. I think that's something people don't do. Right? Is they'll burn through their rerolls on defense, trying to stop their opponent from scoring when they didn't really even have an option.
Yeah.
And then you need to try to get a one turn, and guess what? You've got a reroll for like 8 different rolls you need to make. So,
all right, our last game of this 3-game stand that happened yesterday, all while I was also playing. But Little Titans of Mayhem notched up another win, 2-1 over Those Who Wander. This was a game. Will said he got like 2 casualties against Snotlings.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, not a winning combination.
No, not at all. I was gonna say it had to be extremely frustrating if you're the Chaos Chosen player here. You got all those skills. You got soft targets. You got stuff to, in theory, keep you alive. Versus this team, and Will didn't take like a ton of damage. It's just if you can't inflict damage on the Snotling team, then it's not really fair, right? Like they're balanced around the fact that they should just vaporize if you get enough hits on them. Yeah, that's the way the math plays out on it.
Right. Yeah, that seemed to be kind of what happened. I mean, just the Snotling, I think one took Morgan Dragon's game, and just like a little bit of strength advantage can go a decent way.
Yeah, my experience with Korn was I don't like it when my opponents have players that are stronger than me.
Yeah,
for sure. That's where things go sideways.
Yep. All right. Well, we got our in memoriam section before we get into doing some more deep dives and some previews. Our in memoriam this week we have Thrall Skulllasher, a lineman for Rat Patui. First game in, first game out.
It's your first blood sacrifice. That actually I think is a good omen for the rest of the league. If you sacrifice a player in your first game, good things are coming your way.
Yeah. Then we had Naba Dreadbleeder, lineman for Tryhards.
That a random tackle on that player. So.
One less tackle in the league is something that makes me very happy. We had Alvis, lineman for Arbor Vitae.
Yeah, that Wood Elf player did not have plot armor, unlike all the stupid War Dancers I had to play against.
I had 2 players die in back-to-back turns by the hands of Hefe. The Stumbelina and a Journeyman. Both line women.
Yep.
Both gave their life for the cause of causing Chase mental distress. So I'll take that as a win. Then we had Rapine de Brabant, lineman for second act, who unlives on as a mummy or a zombie for the necromantic.
I think there's like a ton of zombies this league, right?
Yeah.
There's actually like a huge amount of zombies that have been created.
Yeah. And finally we have Kettlegrum Brain Chaser. It's a lineman for the Wolfpack that had a skill. Beaten down, just straight clobbered.
Yeah, he had guard. Not sad to see a guard player die before I have to play him. So,
yeah,
sorry.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna take a quick break right here, and when we come back, we'll do some deep dives and some previews.
All right.
Okay, so we're heading into week 8 officially now. Most of us are.
Some of us are past it.
Yeah.
Many of us are not in it.
Correct. Yes. But we figured we'd talk some playoffs, try to give some early predictions about what could happen.
Did you ever watch Legion?
I've
the
not.
FX show Legion? No. Okay, in the 3rd season, you have a time-traveling character, and they actually have like this... It's like this awesome visual depiction of traveling through time on television. Basically, she walks into a hallway, and the hallway extending in front of her and behind her is like different time periods or whatever. She just kind of like walks to the next time period that she wants to, and she walks out of it. It works really well for a visual medium. Just imagine it in your audio medium right now. That's where we're at with people. They're traveling in this hallway up and down.
Yes. So, but eventually this hallway will have an end.
Yeah. So we're traveling to the end of the hallway.
Yeah, we're trying to get there. So I guess in your mind, how do you see currently playoffs shaking out?
So there is a big question mark in the leg day division as to what the cutoff is. And I think you have, technically, I don't think anybody's mathematically eliminated right now, right? I think the way it stands is if, like, the number one people in each division lose all of the rest of their games, and, like, the people who are dead last in the division win all of the rest of their games, then you have scenarios where the people who are last will make the playoff cut. Now, I'd love to see that happen because I'm not first in either division. But is that likely to happen? Probably not, right? So I think while our division, I mean, I'm in the hot seat in our division, right? There's any number of people who are like directly just outside the standings that if they go on a tear, including playing against me and winning, that puts me basically like 2 games behind at that point. That they could usurp me, jump into the 8th slot, 8 or 7th slot, and push me out. We got a real crab bucket situation going on here in our side, but the other division has kind of like there are multiple people who are fighting, who are going to end up fighting for that last spot. And I think it'll get really competitive down the line. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's definitely going to be close. Like I know right now there's some teams that are sitting outside that really are potentially going to have a good run. But like main one I'm looking at is Clay.
Yeah.
Clay has like far and away played the toughest schedule out of anyone in that half of the league. So he's looking at like playing a bunch of people that are below him left, or like people either directly below him or people right above him in the standings that he would have to win against anyway in order to get in. So I think like sitting at 10th is not the best place you want to be 5 games left in the season, but I think Clay is controlling his own destiny here.
Right.
So
yeah, he gets a hot streak from here. I mean, if you rattle off 5 wins, traditionally I think being above 50% puts your chances of being in the playoffs really, really high. Mm-hmm. So we could go back and look at previous leagues, which I think we've done in the past. Just go look at like how many points it took to get in. Usually, if you're at like 20-something points, you're in great shape. You don't have anything to worry about. You're a lock. I do think the jockeying for position will be really interesting, right? I think most people want an ideal scenario. Their ideal scenario involves both Snotling teams in the same division with Jurgen.
Yeah.
That's their ideal scenario. You have this scary dwarf team that goes and beats up the Snotling teams for you. And that would be like a dream come true for a number of people. Mm-hmm. However, if you've got your team built to kill Snotlings and you play against 2 of them, then you're probably in good shape by that point. It's just a high variance team. I wouldn't necessarily want to play against the Snotlings. I was even contemplating how many skills I need to devote to disturbing presence just to throw off the bomb and throw teammate game plans, if that makes sense. It depends on how much of that, because like that's really my only recourse is make some disturbing presence players to really mess up bomb throwing, to make it way less reliable. This isn't good against teams that want to beat you up, but it would be good against like elf players, right? Any of these passing teams that are trucking around, you could certainly mess them up quite a bit.
Yeah, I think leg day I think is definitely the more interesting division to me to look at, just because we have more games, we have more data on them. Like if you look at total body, there's like a lot of ways things can go, and don't really know how it's going to shake out. But
Yeah, you've got so like the jump in total body, the jump from you've got a couple of people with 5 wins, yourself included.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a string of people who all have 4 wins, and then you've got me with 3, and then you've got a couple people. You have like one Jack with 2, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, a lot of these people only have like 1 win, maybe some draws, right? And so a lot of them are, they don't even have 2 wins worth of points at this point, and so that the 8th spot could be highly contentious down the stretch, depending on how these games play out.
Give some hearkening back to season 8 with the top division. Was that kind of way where there were a bunch of people in the last few weeks trying to fight for those spots, where the second division is like you needed to be at 20 points to secure it, and I think the cutoff for the other division was like 16.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, and that's just the interesting nature. I mean, the NFL plays out like this occasionally, right? Like, you'll have a 7-9 Seahawks team from like 2008 or whatever it was that makes it into the playoffs, limps into the playoffs, just due to the nature of like how the teams around them performed. That's just the nature of a system like this, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's You've got some elf teams you'd have to prepare for. I think like you just have like a wide gamut of teams you have to be ready to play against in the first round. Yeah. And we're close to kind of a battleship league where we may as well make our teams as bloated and as unwieldy as possible, because if you get so many inducements, if you're going to give the Snotling player inducements past like 1 million, they really can't effectively use it anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Once they're at 2-star players plus the giant plus wizard, the diminishing returns kicks in. And so if you go into that game with like 2 million in team value, and you can also snipe Morg out from underneath of them or whatever, then whatever, like what's your game plan? What's your game plan then, smart guy? What if I take the giant? We have 2 giants on the field. What are you gonna do about that type of thing, right? There's a lot you could do headed to the playoffs if you've got time to prepare for them. And then if you're playing against like all these other teams, it's to your advantage to have slightly more team value than everybody else, right? Because then you get to decide what kind of inducements are used in your game, right? If you're going into the game and you got 15K over them, then they don't get anything,
right?
And so if you can keep your team value just slightly higher, whatever they do, they hire somebody, you hire somebody else, right? Like you play the really ticky-tacky back and forth inducement game. You go into those games and control what they get access to. Then it's just whoever got the better team and whoever can roll better. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what you got to start planning for at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it I think is building your team for the playoffs. I would love to get my team back to where it was at the end of last season. I just if my team looks very similar to what it did last season, and I just have the crazy teeth be so much more effective, and then also have like a beast man who is so good at carrying the ball that I don't have to worry about that anymore, then I would feel a lot better. I really liked my team into the last playoff situation last time. I'd love to duplicate that again if I could. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where we're at. It's just like, what are you trying to assemble for the playoffs?
Yeah, like that's definitely been a thing of, as I've got some players that are like sitting with a good amount of SPP right now, and I'm like, weighing like between games, like, is this where do I just like fire off a skill? Do I save for this? Do I need this skill to win this game, or is this something I can go without? Like, that's like the calculus going forward for the rest of the season. And I'm still like, yeah, I've got 7 games left, so I'm hoping. Right now, my goal is to keep pace with Jurgen for most SPP.
Yeah. So. My goal is to crack into the top SPP. By my count, I am like a few dozen SPP outside of it. Mm. Now, I could crack into it by taking SPP. So the problem is like the two of the people that I have to play, you and John Jennings with the Necro, you guys are ahead of me on the SPP chart, so I could take your players from you, and maybe that frees up enough spot on the chart for me to crack into it. But I do feel like I've been having to play catch up the whole time.
Yeah.
This league this time around, because I only brought over 3 skilled players because the corn players are just so expensive compared to Amazon's. So
yeah, skill issue. Yeah. Any last thoughts? Like, what are your for your playoff predictions?
I don't think a Snotling player is going to win the league. Have I cursed the league with a Snotling winner by saying that? I think there's too many things that can go wrong in Snotling games, and then they have to you have to basically play 4 games in a row of perfect Blood Bowl with Snotlings to get to the end. Right?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think the people's approaches to the game are just going to change drastically between a league and just like a normal league match and the playoffs. Like,
right. You could have somebody. I mean, like Ness has a history of this. He fired a whole bunch of players before playing against a stunty player in the past, right? Mm-hmm. You might have a player decide to take like that scorched earth approach and then like cut their team down to like journeyman and give you like 180k to play with, right? Just fire down to nothing but like dark elf linemen and have like one good dark elf blitzer that you use to go get the ball or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see something like that happening, right? I personally wouldn't do that because I think you're better off with like an actual team with skills,
right?
And sure, maybe you won that game, but you got to win all the rest of the games too.
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting finals.
It would be wild.
But I do think I just think that going into Chase's game, I was very much just like, I'm trying to get out of this game unscathed. Was my goal. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to win. I'm not gonna just like
you're
concede.
Not gonna yeah.
Like
I was in the same boat.
I'm still gonna try to do things, but like I'm not like full sending things. I'm not trying to like go super hard. I'm not willing to like make any risky plays. If it's the playoffs, I'm going all in on it. Like I am just like,
you fire the treasury into the game, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, like you were. Yeah, like if you were the thing, if it's not like team is the thing standing between you and playing another game, like you're going to be looking at it differently than people are looking at these league games where they're just like, this is a very annoying stabby roadblock for me. So
exactly, yeah,
that's gonna be the thing.
Right. One, I want to beat some SPP out of if I can do it.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think that's gonna be the interesting thing. I think if I had to make a crazy prediction for it, I don't know.
Do you think an elf team will win?
I think if I was feeling spicy to make a prediction, I would say that I think that I think there's a chance an elf team doesn't make it out of the first round.
Ooh, okay.
Barring an elfy elf matchup.
Okay.
I think that a bunch of people brought over skills that are like very like anti-elf. People are like in leg day division specifically. People are feeling a lot of anti-elf energy.
Yeah.
In the air due to that one agility catch.
Right.
So I think people are like loaded up on tackle. Like I think one of the scariest teams. Again, I have not played yet as Jennings. He's got a lot of tackle, a lot of mighty blow on his team. I'm hoping that is like the game for me that I'm like, I need to survive this game.
Right.
That's like the big roadblock that I'm like worried about.
Yeah, I'm looking at currently 3 tackle, 4 mighty blow.
Mm-hmm.
4 guard,
Yeah.
and 8 block,
Yeah.
and 4 blodgers.
Yeah.
So that's just a lot of skills, right? And he's even got a strip ball ghoul on his team right now. Yeah, I mean we picked him as like a favorite for the division, right? Mm-hmm. I mean his team is sitting in second place, at 5-1-1. His one loss was like an absolute debacle against Wood Elves, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many casualties did he cause in that game? 2. Let's see. 1. He got 1 casualty against Wood Elves.
Yeah.
Right. That's just low rolling, right? That's what that's got to be. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think his team is scary. I still got to play him. And now, granted, that game is probably like when we fight, there's going to be like a crater where our teams collided. Mm-hmm. And hopefully mine is the one still standing. But I mean, he's got a lot of claws and a lot of mighty blow.
Yeah.
Right. The games where the Crazy Teeth pays for himself are the games I win by a landslide, and the games where the Crazy Teeth KOs himself on a triple skull on turn 2 of a half are the games where I lose. So if I could get through a game, I think at this point Crazy Teeth he's rolled 2 triple skulls. Mm-hmm. And I believe he's rolled like a double skull in every game so far, with the exception of Joel's game. So yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do with that? Now, Jennings also told me that he's rolled the most double skulls he's ever rolled in a season with his team. Mm-hmm. So that might be part of the reason why he doesn't have as many casualties as you possibly could have, depending on how like deadly his team looks, right? So,
yeah, no, it's gonna be I'm excited to get to talking to playoffs. It's gonna be a good show. Get some more live streamed action for it. So, it'll be good.
That'll be fun. All right, I think that's a wrap for this episode.
Yeah. Quick hits. Any games this week you're interested in?
The Wayne and Chase game.
Yep.
I mean, that's the whole reason they're in the same division. Chase called out Wayne at the end of last season or whatever, and was like, we're never in the same division. So Wayne was like, okay, well, we'll be in the same division.
Yep.
Now, when I played this matchup, it did not go well for me. Mm-hmm. So Wayne's got way more rerolls, and he's actually got way more skills than I did when I had to play this matchup. Mm-hmm. So maybe it'll go better for him. But when I played it, it was not pretty.
Yeah. I've learned the secret to being Chase is to be 30 minutes late, throw the first foul, and just roll 5s. So that is the advice I can give. If you want anything deeper than that, you can subscribe to my Patreon, and I'll give you all the Chase beating tips you need.
Another game I wanted to shout out was the Ide and Ness game.
Yes.
I got a feeling Ide's going into this game super motivated.
Yeah.
To cause some mayhem, because right now he's out on the outside looking into the top 8. Mm-hmm. And Ness is kind of on a heater, but Ness will be down the 4-strength Witch Elf, which means I think I can probably push the Dark Elves around.
This is a game that's interesting to me. I talked to Clay a little bit last night because I think Clay saw us play Ness also, and this is like a game where we're going to see we could possibly see the full potential of Ness's Superstar Blitzer, since it has Dauntless. So this is a matchup with a lot of Strength 4 players that Dauntless might come in handy.
Yeah.
Being able to do something here. Not 100% certain, but I mean, this is like a matchup where you might get your money's worth out of that skill.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you could, for sure. I'm still not convinced that Dauntless is necessarily good on a Elf Blitzer.
Yeah.
It's certainly... Dauntless is a skill I never want to take, but I love players that have it. Troll Slayers, Valkyries, for instance, even the White Dwarf. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess we'll see.
Well, that's all I got this week. Seems like we're wrapping up. So if you got anything else to say to us that we didn't say in this episode, you know where we work. So come find us. But yeah, thank you for listening. Wherever you're listening to this, you can go give us a follow, like, notification, subscription, whatever it is, whatever you call it. Give us those so we can keep making more of these. And we'll catch y'all next week, hopefully with some more games of our own to recap. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I should have at least mine.
Yeah,
So.
I'm playing a game tomorrow. It's not my week 8 game, but we'll have some for you.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.